Well, we have another episode of McCarthy Monday. We missed last Monday. We were able to do it the Wednesday, I think. Before that, we are less likely to do it on Monday than anything. But we are here today for McCarthy Monday, and the man, the host, the legend, the guy, my best friend, one of my best friends, if not my best friend, my only friend, pretty much. Just Big Jon McCarthy.
No one wanted to put up with you, man.
I know you do such a great job. You do. Rich is probably watching right now. Rich Chow. He's like, man, you're my friend too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, my man, how was the weekend? You worked a lot of shows in the middle of the week last week, so you kind of decided to take the weekend off, from what I understand.
I had shit to do here. That's why I'm all tan now, man. I've been outside doing stuff, but I got a show midweek Wednesday coming up this week, so and then I got another one on Saturday. So, I'm having fun. I'm doing good.
You're one shade away from being fully black.
I went to dinner with people last night, and they looked at me and they went, yeah. And I go, everyone gets this. I have 4% Cherokee Indian. That's, and so I've always, as a kid, I got dark. Mm-hmm. I think it was my sophomore picture in high school, because I didn't even take a senior one. I'm so pathetic. But my sophomore picture, it looks like I'm black. And it's because I was always out in the sun, always doing something. So I got real dark. My mom was like that. My dad was white as a ghost.
It's so funny. My grandfather was a full-blooded Yucky Indian.
Yeah.
And he was dark. And then my grandmother she was Mexican, but she was Spanish Mexican. So she was like light skin with green eyes. And so it was my mom's
a lot of Spaniards.
Yeah.
Like that blue-eyed, green-eyed.
Yep.
Light skin.
Yep, that was my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a dime piece when she was younger.
I'm sure she was.
Small little 5'1" Mexican woman, just green eyes.
Green, yeah.
Fucking with a little bit of attitude.
Oh, there you go.
When she got older, she had a lot of attitude with us grandkids. Man, she used to wreck shop. I remember this is one of the.
Dude, she had to fucking hold the shop together.
My mom was the youngest of 13.
Oh my God.
All from her.
Jeez.
Yeah. It was wild, man. And she, my grandfather worked for FMC, which was like a welding company for the military. Used to weld tanks and stuff. And man, she had and I think we've got a total of maybe 52 or 54 grandchildren. Yeah. The great kids have now started having grandkids. So it's grandkids, great grandkids. Yeah. It's not just all from that first generation. Because I know my oldest cousins they already had kids by the time I was born. Right.
But you talk about lineage and heritage and what's important in life. And your grandma could sit back, and look at all of those kids and everything that came from her lineage and stuff. And you go, yep, she got it right.
Anytime if you have a big family and you guys sit around at Christmas, just watch your grandmother or your great grandmother in the corner. Yeah. And just watch how she's enjoying the whole thing. She doesn't need to make a lot of noise. She's just sitting back and she's enjoying it. And just know that every person in that room came from that woman.
That's right.
That's what's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. But it's people talk about what's important and everything, and like everyone's gonna have their own thing. But I try to tell everyone, it's like I don't care what you do for a job, where you work. You can think it's the most important thing in the world. When you leave, you're gone. They forget about you. You're gonna be replaced. Your family, the people that are important in your life, they will remember you, and that's what's important.
Yeah, let me just tell this story real quick. My grandmother, I was 15 years old. Maybe I wasn't 15. Maybe I was like 13, somewhere around that age. And
when you were a pain in the ass.
I was a little bit of a pain in the ass before that too. As a grown man, you can look back and admit it.
Oh yeah.
Back then, you used to think you were the shit. You're like, I wasn't
you were
bad.
So cool.
I was this.
That was cool.
One time, she had basically challenged on something, and I had stood up and challenged her, and she fucking, without skipping a beat, I stood up right in her face, and she slapped the shit out of me. It wasn't even like, hey, get out of my face. Soon as I stood up and got in her face, she fucking slapped me. It was, and my cousins were there. They were a little bit older than me, and they were like, ooh. And they just left it as is. But I didn't know this, but my cousins went home and told their mom, and their mom had called their brothers, and their brothers, which is my uncles, came to the house that night, and I got the belt.
Oh yeah,
We got the belt.
yeah. I got more than one ass whoop, dude. I had one. I did the same thing, but I was like 6. You know, I did something, and
because you were like 6'2" already.
my mom, she slaps the shit out of me, spanks me. You know, I just turned around, and looked at her, and went, "That didn't hurt." And dude, my dad heard it. I'm such a dumbass. I didn't look to make sure he wasn't there. He goes, "Oh, that didn't? Well, this one will." Yeah. I got this shit knocked out of me. It's like, I deserve it.
Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I got the belt. It was yeah, they just came. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Here's the question. Did you ever do that to her again?
No.
So guess what?
But I didn't need them to whoop my ass. She whooped my ass. She slapped the shit out of me. She was like, whoosh. I was like, oh, she fucking hit me. Like, and what are you gonna do? You're not gonna touch your grandmother. Like,
dude, that's when
that would have
been worse than a belt.
Would have got killed. Yeah, they would have beat the shit. My cousins that were there, the boys that were there too, were a little bit older than me.
Now that's the thing is you got to go back to your cousins and whip their ass for ratting you out.
It's too late, man. It's too late. Especially now that I can fight. Like, yo, I got you guys. Oh man. Speaking about making mistakes, let's talk about Dean Thomas. You like that little transition there? Let's talk about Dean Thomas. And I know that's been the topic of the weekend pretty much.
Yeah.
Dean said some comments, about Julian Robertson right after her fight.
Yeah.
And he had then today on his podcast with Dustin Poirier, Chris Weidman, Jorge Masvidal, he came out and cleared the air. And I'm going to play that for you real quick.
All right.
Let's play that
my own
first.
Opinions on it,
but yeah, let's play his thoughts about the weekend, what he said, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up.
We know how this is. It's an emotional roller coaster. You're dealing with the same insecurities, the same highs and lows.
But it's just not the corner. It's everything leading up.
Everything leading up to it. Everything leading up to it. You have to deal with all that stuff. And it's an emotional roller coaster. And I've been very vocal about this, that it's not my favorite thing to do. I've tried to quit time and time before. Although when Tyron Woodley got knocked out by Jake Paul, I was like, yo, it's my last time doing this.
I remember you.
Yeah, my last time doing this. I'm not doing this no more. But I took on Jillian. And I have to say, Saturday night was the most inappropriate time for me to bring up the fact that I did not want a corner again. It was completely irresponsible. It was despicable. I shouldn't have done it. I should have waited till maybe even today. I should have waited till a different time than take away her moment. Now, this is a young lady that I've worked with for her entire career. The last 7 years, it's just been me and her working endlessly, just together, traveling,
that's what
working together.
Back home doesn't see.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. We've been working endlessly, time and time again together. And I remember her coming to me crying, I just would like to win 2 in a row, 3 in a row. And she went on this amazing run. She's broken records. And I selfishly stole her moment that night. And instead of congratulating her on her run, I stole her moment. And I want to apologize to her for that because I stole her moment. And I was completely wrong. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. But I'm not too big to say I'm sorry.
There you go.
And for her, Jillian, I love you. I got your back. I've always had your back. This is not the end. I've always had your back. And I want you to know that I'm always here for you. I'm always going to support you. And whatever you need, I'm always here for you the same way I've been for you for the last 7 years when it was just us.
John, there's a lot of emotion that goes into being a coach, being a corner, and doing it with somebody that you care about. That's what that's what no one seems to wrap their head around. He cares about this young lady. And to see the frustration in his voice or hear the frustration in his voice when he was cornering her.
Yeah.
There was just, you could tell his emotions got the better of him. He didn't know how to react. He didn't know what to do. He said it out loud. What I can appreciate about him, he came out today. Didn't let much time go by. Sunday, he was just like, look, I've got to write this. No better platform to do it than on his own show with the guys that he admires as well, with Dustin and Chris Weidman and Masvidal. You've got to say something. You've got to clear the air. He handled this like a man. Nothing, you can't ask any more from a human being and from another man than to admit their wrongs. And he admitted it. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm gonna obviously let you talk, but I'm done. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because this man, he made a mistake. He owned up to it. He obviously cares about her, and a lot of frustration in the heat of the moment. He let it out, and it's just, he put so much work. She put so much work. They did it together. And this man, I'm sorry, but for me, it's done. He's owned up to his mistake, and you got to learn to forgive. Hopefully she forgives him, and I hope that they've had a conversation personally together, which I believe they probably have. Yeah. But he's a good dude, man. Dean Thomas is a good dude. So I put it to bed.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question on this because we've talked about this. I've said, first off, fighting is just a terribly hard sport for everyone involved in it. Everyone thinks that, it's because there's so many just small basics that go with it. Everyone thinks that, oh, that's easy. I could do that, and it's like, I'll throw a punch. I could do that. I'm tough. I can take a punch. Oh, I could, I could judge that. I could ref that. I could teach someone how to fight. All of those things, are incredibly difficult to do. It's just that good people make them look easy. And this is the whole point with this entire thing was I knew how much Dean cared about Jillian. Right. And I knew that he screwed up, but it was emotions. And this is where I've asked you before. And, I said, hey, what do you think is the worst job in fighting? And I've always said the worst one is being the trainer. And why? Because you put in so much time with the fighter. You game plan with them. You go through all the training sessions. You go to the practice sessions. You're doing the sparring sessions with them. You're pointing things out. You're doing these things. You're setting up. This is what we want to do with this opponent. And this is their moment. It's not just her moment. It's their moment because, that's how, embedded and attached to this you are. And it's not about you, but it's your moment, man. My girl made it. She's got a title shot. She's gonna win because in your heart and in your mind, she's gonna win. I know we can beat this person. And so you game plan, you practice, you do all these things. And then the moment that they close those doors on that cage is the moment that all of your power, all of your ability to help is gone. It's does the fighter come through with what you have decided and what you've planned and what you've worked on? Do they implement those things? And many times they do. And man, you're just sitting back and you're going that way and you're doing things and everything's good. And there are times, and I think this is what happened with Jillian, the pressure of everything. She's used to fighting, but this being that moment, that first chime, that ability, I've worked so hard to get here. She froze up. It's not like, she stood there, but she didn't take control of the fight. She allowed Mackenzie to control most of the fight. And she became much more just reactionary to what was occurring instead of being that person who she normally is, who goes out and sets the tone, sets the pace, makes things happen. And you could tell when, Dean, right after the first round, she came back to the corner and his first words, if you remember, I remember because I was like, he's right. He goes, girl, you got to wake up, and that was, this is not him being mean. He's just telling her, hey, this is not you. This is not what we train for. And so everything, and you look and she came in the fifth round. She put a great round together. She put a whooping on Mackenzie for that round. And that was the fighter that Dean expected to see in the first round, the second round, the third round, and if it went to the fourth and fifth, that's what he expected. And when that didn't happen, hey, the disappointment in him was immense. And because I've talked to him about this, because he is that guy that, he likes coaching for moments. He doesn't like the whole thing, everything that comes with it and all the responsibility. He likes being that free, that free spirit that can go and do his different things. And so he said something, when he, got cleaned up and went to, his spot to be at the desk there. And he said something he shouldn't have said. But what more can you ask of a person that comes out and says, man, I was wrong. I fucked up. I screwed up. Absolutely, it was horrible what I did. And I am so sorry. Look, he's human. Yeah. We're all human and we all make mistakes. And it takes a true man to own up to those mistakes, to publicly come out and say, I made a mistake. I was wrong. What more can you ask of him? Look, this whole thing, as you said, I know Dean Thomas. I love Dean Thomas as a person. He's as good a person. I've known him, since he was the #1 lightweight in the world, right? Mm-hmm. Back, when you were near the top. Jens Pulver was there at the top. Dean beat Jens in the WEF, right? And, he had his moments. And when he got into the UFC, he was kind of just a little bit past those moments. But he has been an absolute, stellar individual throughout his fighting career, throughout his coaching career with American Top Team, everything he's done. And this right here, in my opinion, just goes to verify everything that I'm talking about. Dean Thomas is an absolute gem of a human being. He makes mistakes like all of us. He made a mistake. He owned up to the mistake. Let it go. Anyone that continues to hold on to it, you're just being ridiculous. He made a mistake. He owned up to it. I absolutely, 100%. I take his apology and I say, you know what? It's over.
Yeah. Yeah. You said, what is the worst job to have in this sport? And you have to say coach. You have to say corner and coach, because you have no control once they get inside that cage. It doesn't matter how much work you've done with them in that inside the room. Doesn't matter. When you get in that cage, they can shut you out at any moment.
That's right.
And I've done that a couple of times with Javier and Bob Cook, two of the best coaches in the game ever.
Oh, I remember Bob Cook yelling at you in a corner. That's what he's supposed to do.
Exactly.
He's got to get you back, and he's got to get your attention and make you realize, maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, that's his job. And that's what Dean was trying to do early on in the fight. It just didn't work.
And the other thing is, the reason why it is so hard, I think, to be that corner is you will give your life, your time, which is your life, to that athlete. First, let's just say I was in the game for 20 years. Javier coached me for 15, 16 of those years. Yep. And then that fighter is gone. And my relationship with Javier, sure, it's still there, but it's nowhere near what it was. Every morning we had breakfast. We hit pads, 3 times a week. We ran at the track 3 times a week. We did things together, just the two of us.
Yeah.
In the beginning of our coaching and fighter relationship. That will all go away when that fighter ages out. And then a new fighter will come in and he'll have to get connected to that fighter. How long until those coaches go, I'm done getting connected. I just want to come here and just do a job.
Yeah.
That's the emotional part, right? It's hard for those coaches because they are emotionally attached to their athlete. And you can tell with him, he was emotionally attached to her. He's been training her. I think she was 15, or he's known her since she was 15. They've come up together. He's put in 7 years of hard work with her to get her to a title shot. The peak of the sport, of the UFC title shot. That's the peak. He got her there. And then it wasn't what he expected, and it wasn't probably what she expected.
No.
And that's the frustration level that I think he just couldn't control, because his heart broke for her and himself as well, that they've done so much to get there, and it wasn't exactly what they had in mind. Yeah. And so I understand the frustration, but like you said, The fact that he got on his show, which is going to get probably, I don't know, it probably gets anywhere between 400,000 to 500,000 views a show. They do a great job. Dustin Poirier, Chris Weidman, Masvidal, and
yeah, nobody there that knows anything about fighting.
Yeah, nobody, you know, and they do a fantastic job. And I'm glad that he said it straight. He said, look, I fucked up.
Yeah.
From one man to another, I can understand. I'm glad you admitted it. I'm glad that you came forward. I'm glad you made it public. You didn't just do it behind closed doors and let people keep talking. You did it publicly for everyone to know. I mean, it should silence everyone. To forgive another man for his mistake is one of the best things. Not let's say best things, but it's one of the most honorable things you can do. Just allow them to make their mistake. They made it. Now it's time for you to forgive them once they realize they made a mistake. And he made a mistake. He knows that. He confessed he fessed up to it. And hey, I got nothing else to say. He's a good dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very knowledgeable in the sport. Very good dude. Puts his time and effort in. I'm sorry, but look, he admitted it. It's done. It's over. Hopefully he can move on. Hopefully she forgives him as well. And hopefully we see him corner again.
Hey, you know what? Look, at time heals everything.
It does.
You know, and the heartbreak, it'll go away.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But you know what? I just know that when people do things like this at times, it's just because they're absolutely crushed.
Mm-hmm.
And they say something or do something that, you know, doesn't come out the way they intended. And it doesn't look right, and it didn't. You know, when he said it, I was listening. I went, "Oh, Jesus, Dean, you should never have said that." You know?
Yeah,
and I think, you know, but he understands that better than I do now. So and he's done everything that he can to make it right.
You know what frustrated me a little bit is you have fighters. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave them nameless, okay? But you have fighters that came out and just fucking ripped him. Just ripped him.
Yeah.
Let him get out of the moment. Let cooler heads prevail. Calm down. Everyone jumps to Twitter and just starts
it's today's society, and this is where, you know, people have to, you know, just, I don't care who you are, you have to take this and understand, you know, what's important in your life. Who are the people you're going to listen to? And if you're that person that has to get on to Twitter and just give your opinion because, I want everyone to know what I think. Sometimes give it some time. Write it out if you want. Write it. Don't send it, because eventually you'll figure out you don't need to send a lot of the stuff that you're putting out there.
I was talking to Alan Jobon last week, and I said, as an analyst, we get criticized by fighters way more than they criticize the fucking media. If the media writes something bad about them, like John, you and I, when we started doing the podcast, I got so many DMs like, fuck you, pussy. Like, why are you saying this? Like, I used to respect you. Or like, I used to love watching you fight. And now you're telling me that I fucking fought like this and this. I'm like, that's how you fought. And it's, you know, like
the truth,
they don't ever
sometimes
reach out.
hurts.
They don't ever reach out to you and go, hey man, thanks for the kind words when you say a bunch of positive stuff about them.
Yeah, no.
You know, but I also feel like
that's normal.
They hold us accountable. They don't hold other people accountable. And I feel like Dean got I don't want to say, look, he deserved the criticism, but he got this because of who he is and what he's done in his career. Yeah. If that was a media person that jumped on there and was like, oh yeah, like, you know, Dean should be done, or, you know, or she should just, you know, she's gone as far as she can. You saw it tonight. It's over. Everyone would be like, yeah, what an asshole. But none of the fighters would have shit on that person, that media person. They would have just left it as it is. Athletes that come from the sport or that were involved in the sport at a high level, they have a tendency to fucking rip into us even more. And we're like, yeah, we remember what it was like. Okay. But sometimes it's okay. Like, we have to say what's on our mind. If we felt that way, we felt that way.
You have to, you know, and it's a matter of when you're the fighter, you know, like there's fighters that, you know, say stuff on Twitter and stuff now or Instagram. I just look and I go, oh man, you're going to regret saying that. You're going to regret putting that out. But, you know, they can do it. It's free speech. It's fine. But when you change hats, being that you're no longer the fighter, you're an former fighter. Okay. And now you're an analyst for the sport. What's what is your job? It's to be as honest and truthful as you can be about what you are seeing and what your opinion of that fight, those fighters is. You've got to be as honest as you can. Sometimes being honest hurts feelings.
Yeah.
It's just part of it. But, again, I always look and it's like, if I hurt someone's feelings, I apologize. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but everything that I'm saying, you might want to take a look at some of it, because in the end, some of it might be actually truthful and might actually, instead of you being angry and making excuses about something, take a look at it and say, can I make myself better from it?
Yeah.
But that's all of us.
I think he's going to learn a lot from this. I think his relationship with Jillian will probably obviously make amends. They'll figure it out and go on. You can't ask for any more from him. So came out, made his public apology, and hopefully she forgives him, and hopefully they continue working together, and we see her make another run.
Yeah.
So she's a fantastic fighter.
She is. She's what's funny is, her and, Mackenzie in that fight, you got to look, they're so similar. And I'm going to be honest, neither one had a great fight. You got to look and be honest about the actual, fight. Mackenzie made a lot of mistakes. She did some good things, and Jillian made a lot of mistakes, but in the end, she did some good things. That's part of the fight world, and that's part of fighting. And it's being able to limit those things that elevates, your performance to the point where no one's going to beat you in that fight. So it just happens.
All right, UFC 330. Give me your take on the main event between Ian Gary and Islam Makhachev. Let me just give you some stats first. She had one knockdown done by Islam with the head kick. Nice little right hand, little overhand right into that
beautiful
rear leg head kick. Beautiful. Yep. Caught him on the chin. Total strikes, 99 strikes for Islam, 89 strikes for Ian McGarry. 23 significant strikes for Islam, 29 significant strikes for Ian Gary. Headshots, 9 each. Body shots, 4 for Islam, 13 for Ian. 10 leg shots for Islam, 7 leg shots for Ian Gary. 12 minutes of control, 12 minutes, 30 seconds of control for Islam, 34 seconds of control for Ian Gary. And then takedowns, 7 takedowns for Islam, 0 takedowns for Ian Gary. And then that's kind of the stats that I have on that.
Yeah.
What did you think of the fight? There's a couple questions I have for you. What did you think of the fight overall? How did you have it scored going into the 5th?
Okay.
And there was a little bit of I didn't look at it that way, but there was a little bit of a toe grab apparently that people in the comments are trying to remind me of how Islam had his toes in the fence when he was standing up on all feet and his foot was kind of wedged between the fence and the canvas.
Yeah, that's part of the UFC's cage, the infinity, because the actual surface, there is a spot. Guys use it all the time. It's not part of anything illegal in the rules to sit there and to wedge your foot in between the actual canvas and the fencing material. There's no rule that says you can't do it. I'm not, you're doing everything you can to create friction, create, the ability to hold. I've seen people, do it too many times. I've seen people get hurt by it. I've seen people do it and nothing happens. So it's just part of the sport, part of that cage, part of, fighting in the UFC's octagon and stuff. And to make something of it, sorry, you're making something to nothing. I thought the fight itself, and I actually, let me put this out first. I didn't think people were giving Ian Gary enough credit as a fighter going into the fight. I think Ian Gary is a dynamite fighter. Mm-hmm. I think he is absolutely the future of the sport. I think he is someone that he trains really smart. Really well. Did I just? I lost you, didn't I?
There you go.
I thought he fought, different than I thought he was going to fight. I really thought he was going to be utilizing his movement and being in and out and creating a lot of chaos as far as Islam being able to set his feet and to get into him at times. I thought he'd be using that teep kick that he uses all the time a lot more. He didn't. I was really surprised by the game plan because it was obvious. It was, Jason Staub being his, stand-up coach for the fight. Damian Maia being in his corner. Obviously, he's got great coaches, people that, worked with him. But I thought going into the fight, he could cause Islam a lot of problems. Obviously, I thought if Islam gets the takedown, the control factor of what Islam can do is going to be very difficult for Ian Gary to get himself up out of. And that proved true, and that's, it's so easy to sit there and say, oh, just stand up, oh, just get up. Oh, just get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, try it, and Islam is, top tier at being able to put pressure on people, to drag them down, to just be heavy on top of them and make it to where, I can frame right here and get myself in a position where I'm framed and I can keep myself from being crushed down, but I can't move to get up, and just, structurally, he's taking that away. So I looked and I thought that Islam should have been the favorite going into the fight, but I didn't think that it was as big of a difference in the fighters as what the odds were putting out. I thought Islam fought a really controlled and smart fight. I thought that, the second round, really was impressive. And I always say, people don't give Islam enough credit for his stand-up. He's got good stand-up. He doesn't, he very seldom overextends and reaches. Sometimes he'll do things and he'll pull his chin back at times and a little bit up, and you go, don't do that. But he is so complete now as the fighter. And, whatever people want to think of, just the frame of Ian Gary is that frame that we talk about. Hey, this is the guy that's going to give you problems. All the things that, create problems for fighters, the length, just that tall, long, and lanky, as you used to say all the time. It's a motherfucker. And when, he's sitting, just sticking his hand out and creating that distance, it's tough to get past that distance. So overall, I enjoyed the fight much more than I think other people did. I'm listening to the crowd, in Philadelphia, and then starting to boo, and it's like, what are you booing? Like, these guys are fighting their asses off, and there's so many little technical things that are going on. And it's that every time Ian did something good to, counter what Islam was doing, Islam then recountered and created a problem for him. And that's just called championship fighting. That's top tier, top of the food chain. That's why Islam is the guy that he is right now, is the pound for pound best guy. He has that ability to, put you in a position that's bad. You break out of that position, or you do something that gives him. And there was, the one time that, Islam he's on top, and Ian slips the shoulder, boom, now that's your control time, 34 seconds or whatever it was. But it was beautifully done. And that's those little things that seem like, oh, well, that was neat. That was not only thought of in the moment as he's feeling it. He's practiced that because he was told, hey, he does this. This is what we can do to try to counter it. This is what we're going to do. It's going to put us here. And so I really enjoyed the fight. I thought the fight was a great fight. I thought both guys fought their asses off as good as they could fight. And I thought that Ian came up a little bit short. I thought going into the fifth round, I had it even. And I'll tell you why. In the fourth round, Islam he's going after him as far as a grappler. But for you to do something in the grappling aspect to gain some type of advantage, you have to get an advantage. Just getting behind someone is not enough of an advantage. It is if now you're striking, but Islam wasn't doing that. And so Islam, he got one good dump, but it wasn't hard because Ian was able to put his hands down. So he got that nice dump, but he'd been kicked earlier on in the fourth round, and there was a good kick to the body by Ian. And then Ian's just doing a lot of little shots that are just adding up, where Islam is not throwing anything at this point. And with that, based upon you didn't get to that position you wanted to get to, with your grappling to have that advantage in the fight. I'm going to give it to Ian Gary. Now, 2 of the judges went with Islam. 1 judge went with Ian Gary, and it is close. It's a super close, and I can understand, they're saying, look, he had multiple takedowns, but a takedown is nothing more than a positional change if you do nothing with it. You've got to do something with it. Now, if he had that, when he picked him up and he had a good slam off of it, that's doing something with the takedown that's creating some type of damage to him, or, diminishing him a little bit. But there wasn't that in the round. So I gave that to Ian Gary. So I had it even going into the 5th round. And then I had, obviously, Islam winning the 5th round. So 48-47 would have been my score.
Yeah, I had it even going into the 5th as well.
Okay.
I mean, Ron McCarthy gave me some words of advice, man. Count the strikes, but count it by the minute. The minute by minute thing does help.
Oh,
it was hard to really enjoy the fight as much as I would like to.
I told you, Rex.
I was trying to score it, but I didn't want to leave anything up to chance. And I heard Khabib tell him in the corner, they were talking about it too, that Khabib said, you need to win this round to win the fight. When he walked out for the 5th.
That's smart.
It was smart because I had it 2-2. You had it 2-2. One of the judges had it 2-2. And you don't know what the judge is going to do. The 3rd and the 4th, he for sure lost the 3rd round. The 4th round to me was really close. Could have went either way. And he needed to win the 5th.
Yeah.
And he did exactly what he needed, like a true champion. Now, most judges had it, the 2 judges had it 4-1. But I want to remind people, because I see a lot of people in the comments right now, and I also had a lot of people talking on X after I posted a picture of Khabib knocking down Conor, and then Islam knocking down Ian, and they're both chasing after him at the same time. It looks very, very similar. Good picture, great picture the way they put it together. Someone put it together and sent it. But ultimately, the closest fight that Islam has been in, it's been 4-1 decisions. The first Volk fight was a 4-1 decision. He won 4 rounds out of the 5. I know the fight seemed closer because the rounds were so close.
The fifth round made it, where people looked at it and went, "Oh, Volk wins the fight." Like, no, he won the round.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
But just John, that means that he didn't win any rounds until the 5th round.
Yeah,
because he won that fight 4-1 in the rounds, and the same thing happened last night. He won on the judges' scorecards 4-1. So I don't want to get rid of this feeling of like he's barely getting by. No, he's winning. 4-1 is a lot. In a 5-round fight, I win 4 of the 5 rounds. That's a lot. Now the rounds are close.
Yeah,
it's a tough. Let me remind you guys, this is a tough sport. This is a very hard sport to get wins in, and to win at the level that he's winning.
That's it.
The other thing, he left the lightweight division, which there was still Justin Gaethje there that he could have probably fought, but he's like, look, Khabib beat him. I beat Dustin. Khabib beat Dustin. I beat the best guys in the division I've tried to fight, and I beat them. He fought the pound for pound guy Volk. Right? Everyone's he came up in weight class. And I know a lot of people were saying, like, the guys that you fought used to fight at 145. You fought Charles, you fought Dustin. Those guys all used to be 145 pounds. You fought Volk twice. Guys, those guys obviously came up and had a great career at 155. So you can't hold the standard as that, like, they were 45 pounders. Now they're 55 pounders. Both of them were former lightweight champions. Both of them. Dustin's an interim champion. Charles Oliveira was the champion. Like, you can't hold that against him that he fought guys that were 45 pounders. Charles, at times, you see him on death's bed trying to make 155. He's like, his team's all around him, sending prayers over him. It's wild to see him make weight because he's just all toweled up and laying in. He looks like he's just suffering, sucked in. Now, he left the lightweight division, John, and he goes to a harder division right now. What is the most difficult division right now in the sport? To me, it's 170. I think right now you've got, if Shavkat comes back, I mean, you've got the guys in the top 6, 7 in the light welterweight division.
Yeah,
insane.
It's stacked. It's stacked.
Ian Gary, like I agree with you. I was telling people, I go, the speed, the length, the reach, all those things are going to be a problem for Islam. And how can he get these takedowns? How can he get in and closing the distance without getting frustrated? That was my concern. That, and then holding somebody that's that long down, it's very difficult. Training with Luke Rockhold, I could hold a lot of guys down. Training Luke, I know he's a lot bigger, but just his leverage that he had, just because he was 6'2", 6'3", like just being able to like elevate you, get underneath you and kick you off, those things make a difference. They make a big difference in this sport. Huge. And so Islam going up to welterweight, you guys, it's funny because everybody, they saw the size of Michael Morales standing next to Ian Gary after the fight, and they're like, holy shit, that guy Michael Morales is bigger than Ian Gary, and Ian Gary was bigger than Islam. So it's like you have the champion who's not the big guy anymore in the weight class, and he's going to have to fight these young killers. And this is a sport where the young eat the old. That's what this sport is. Absolutely. And so in my post that I put out on Instagram and I put out on X, I said, this sport is where the young eats the old. But on top of that, it doesn't matter. There will always be another challenge, John. Just like when Jon Jones left. Oh, you got to fight Tom Aspinall to be considered the greatest. Like everyone's going to always have another challenge for you. I would have loved to have seen him fight Tom Aspinall. And of course, I would love to see him fight Michael Morales. I would love to see him fight Carlos Prates. I'd love to see him by the time he fights both those guys, Amosov will be there. And then, someone else will be there. There's always going to be somebody else, John. Always. You know that. So all they want to do is see you eventually lose so they can tear you down and discredit your career. I personally would like to see him walk away right now. I would like to say, like, hey, I defended the title. I would like to see him just wrap it up. Go enjoy your money with your family. Go. I mean, I know he's got more left in him. Yeah, I think he beats Prates. The Morales thing does kind of concern me a little bit, but how good is Ecuadorian wrestling? But the physical size of him is big. The power he possesses could be scary. Ian Gary doesn't possess a lot of power. He does possess technique, but you got to pull the trigger. John, in a 5-round fight, 89 strikes totally thrown, 29 landed significantly.
That was the surprising part for me, watching the fight with, normally Ian is a guy who's very fluid on his bike, uses the jab really well, uses that front teep beautifully. He creates a lot of situations that can create problems for someone and to make the mistake, and he takes advantage of that opening. But I want to say this about, I keep on hearing people talking about Islam and say, well, he really didn't. He hasn't fought anybody. Oh. Josh, I don't know who the fuck you're supposed to fight.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But it's absolutely the most ridiculous
bullshit statement
you could make. He has fought everybody. Okay. Now, early in his career, he fought, Arman Tsarukyan. Okay, now Arman was young too. Now he was supposed to fight Arman again, but that's not his fault. He was there for the fight. He ended up fighting, Renato Moicano because Tsarukyan fell out. But Alexander Volkanovski, as you said, was the pound for pound best fighter in the world. Okay, he's a one weight class down guy at 145. So those 10 pounds that's what makes it a non-competitive fight. Well, the first one was competitive, and you look, the second one was, I didn't think Volkanovski should have taken it. You didn't think Volkanovski should have taken the fight. He did though. And that was his mistake. And it ends up being where he got knocked out, but Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, all these guys, and it's like, how are you not giving credit to this guy as far as who he has fought? He's fought everybody that they can put in front of him. He's not the one that gets to choose. There are these guys that are called matchmakers, and there's this other guy named Dana White that kind of, decide who you're going to fight. And all I hear from him every time is, just give me another fight. So I want to fight soon. I don't care who it is. So he's not picking anyone. So you've got to look and go, he ends up, it would have been cool if he could have fought Ilya, and it probably would have been the next fight if Ilya had beaten Justin. But do you honestly want to see Justin Gaethje fight Islam Makhachev?
No,
I don't. I don't think it's the fight that is a good fight. I'll say for either one of them. Okay, because if Islam beats Justin, he's not going to get credit because now he's a lightweight.
Yeah,
and it's like Justin is an absolute fucking monster, but style wise, it's going to be a tough fight for him.
Yeah,
right. So the Ilya fight's gone. So who do you take a look, and like you said, right now in the welterweights, there's, you can sit there and talk, about all these different things, but Islam Makhachev has fought the who's who when he was in lightweight. Dan Hooker, Kimura's him. Remember that one? And everyone was like, "Oh, big and tall. This is gonna be a different one." And that's taking nothing from Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is a freaking stud, right? But everybody, and so he's just, for whatever reason, when you are a controlling fighter, when you're that guy that you win a lot of your fights based upon being able to basically suffocate your opponent, and it's not that you're not finishing them, you're suffocating them with just this incredible talent of being able to control their body and put them systematically from one bad position into a worse, and that leads to the finish. And he does that, and it's like, because it's not a highlight reel knockout every time. He's had those. Mm-hmm. He's had the highlight reel knockouts. Volkanovski's one of them. And so you look and you go, people can sit there and say whatever they want. I do want to see him fight more. Once he's 30 into 35, 36, then I'm with you. Walk away. Mm-hmm. You've done enough, but he's a tremendous fighter. He's a tremendous champion. He's exactly what you want if you're, a fan of this sport, as far as the class that he brings, other than telling Ian Carey to shut up when Ian was actually saying good things about him, which I thought was classic. That was awesome because he didn't understand what he was saying, but you look and you go, he's everything you could ask for as a fighter. And right now, he deserves to be the pound for pound best guy, because he is.
Yeah, you know how hard it is for the UFC to matchmake their champions. The champion, behind closed doors, the champions are always like, "Well, what about this guy? What about this guy?" And I've been in these conversations where Javier and Khabib was talking, or Islam. They were talking about like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this fight?" And it was just like, "Hey, these are the guys that they gave us," and they're like, "We don't care."
Yeah,
they're like, "Well, we like this guy. This guy's good, but like we'll take either one." Yeah. Their the way that they were, even at young ages, before they're like, "We don't care. Just whoever. Which guy do you think, Javier? Which guy do you think? Who do you think I should fight? Which one do you feel more comfortable with? We don't care." Okay, well then that's the coach. Javier's like, "Okay, well let's talk about maybe this guy then."
Javier's going, "Well, I don't want to make the damn decision now because what if I'm wrong?"
So, but you gotta love the way that they're willing to just, hey, if the guy makes 155, the guy makes 170, I'll fight him. Yeah. If King Kong makes 155, I'll fight him.
It's exactly, Hoyce used to say, "Put the devil on the other side of the cage. As long as he's standing there, I'll fight him." No. And that's what Khabib and that's what Islam have done. And then again, people who sit there and say what they want. That team and what Abdulmanap was able to create and is now perpetuated based upon his son is special. Everything about what they do, it's the right thing right now. And there's always been those teams within the sport of MMA that have succeeded and done well. And you can go down the list, and people will say, well, the Gracies were like the first one. Not really a team, but Lion's Den. Okay. Yeah, the Lion's Den had their little thing. And then it was Militich Fighting Systems, right? And you had all that. And then you had American Top Team, who's still around, right? And then you can look and go and say, oh, the Black Zillions, which turned into Hard Knocks, which turned into Stanford, which turned into Kill Cliff, right? All great. But Extreme Couture, there's always been those teams, but AKA, had their time and everything, but then came the the Dagestanis came to them and they kind of taken it over, as far as everyone's kind of gotten, away from talking AKA, and now it's all just, the Dagestans. But look at, I don't care what promotion they're in, they're doing well. They're putting on really good fights. And if there's one thing I'll say is, they get a bad reputation of, all they can do is wrestle. That is bullshit. Okay, that is not true. They can all. Now, obviously, there's variances between one fighter and the next, but the good ones, dude, the good ones are fucking scary good everywhere.
Yeah,
look out. They're going to be around for a while.
The ones that are coming from Khabib's team, the ones that started off striking, their wrestling has improved so much.
Well, and this is exactly what you're saying. For a guy that's always saying you can't teach a grown man to wrestle, bullshit, because they have.
Well, are they really grown men? They're fucking like 21, 22, 20. These guys are like already in the top 10 rankings, and they're like 23, 24 years old. I mean, these guys are still young, still babies. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think when we say grown men, we mean like 40 and 50, John.
Well, no, 40 and 50-year-olds, trust me, I can.
No,
6-year-olds definitely can't learn anything.
It hurts to kneel down to tie my shoes. What the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, tell me about it.
I don't want people getting away with discrediting his work. They've discredited what he's achieved in his career. 17 consecutive wins. And I saw, which he should know better, Frato won on here, I think, talking trash. We did a face-to-face on the channel. Frato, I'm going to smack you when I see you next time. Okay. The bottom line is he's like, oh, well, Anderson Silva had, 13 title defenses. Okay. Anderson Silva had 13 title defenses. That's great. They're out of his 16 fights or whatever it was.
Okay.
He also got a title shot a lot sooner. It was like 2 fights later or 1 fight later. He got a title defense after he beat Chris Lieben. Then he fought Rich Franklin. So it wasn't as if like Islam, I know he lost his first or second fight in the UFC. I think it was his second fight.
Yeah.
He lost the second fight. Then he went on this terror, ends up getting a title. But the day of getting title shots, 2 days in or 2 fights in, those are gone. Good luck. These guys have to have like 6 or 7 fight win streak. And impressively, majority of them, if you look at them now, it's 9 fights you have to win to even start being talked about for a title.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these guys. Bilal Muhammad, John Fitch, those guys had to win like 11, 12 straight. And before John, I know John was considered to be boring, so was Bilal. But John I want to say he had like 7 or 8 finishes out of his 9 or 10 fights that he had before he got his title shot. So he was finishing guys and still took him that long to get a title shot. They didn't like him as a person. I get it. They didn't like him as a fighter and his style. But those days are gone. You need to prove yourself for 8 to 9 consecutive win streaks. So Islam did everything he was supposed to do. I'm not going to discredit him. I'm not going to allow people to discredit him because they didn't like what he, his path to the title. He did everything he was supposed to do. He fought everyone they put in front of him. Oh, well, he fought all these guys on last minute. That's not his fault. He came to fight. He was ready to fight. He showed up and fought on the date they gave him. His opponent
against someone he didn't prepare for.
Yeah, let's put that is extremely difficult. The pressure is more on him to win because he has to fight the guy.
All the pressure
is
on him. Every freaking ounce of it. The guy who steps in, he's got a freebie. It's like, hey, no one expects anything of you because you're a last minute replacement and you're coming in. It's one of the least stressful fights you'll ever have. Because you can be free to say, hey, I got nothing to lose. Where the champ there, he's got everything to lose. And it's not an easy thing just to, step in there. Like Jon Jones did it for how long as far as he didn't take those fights.
Yeah.
Dan Henderson falls out of a fight that he's supposed to be in. They want to give him chael. He steps away from it. Now, you cannot tell me, at the time you weren't sitting there. And just as I was sitting there going, why would you not take that fight?
Yeah.
Well, because he's being smart. He's saying, I didn't prepare for him and I'm not going to take that chance. Okay. I understand it. But people, you can go back and look. Anderson Silva had some, really good opponents. He had some really average opponents too.
Yeah.
Take a look, he fought Dan Henderson.
Dallas Lattis, Damian Myers,
Travis Luter,
Patrick Cote.
Yep. I mean, decent fighters. I'm not saying that, but they weren't, they weren't, top of the food chain, and you can't sit there and say they were and stuff. And so, but he had, Rich Franklin was a good fighter. He was a champion.
Mm-hmm.
He was just tailor made for Anderson Silva too.
Yeah.
So you look and you go, well, but Anderson, Anderson fought James Irvin, during that time, if you remember.
Yeah.
And look, James, tough guy, but very one-dimensional. And his one dimension was being a brawler against a guy that's one of the best strikers. It's like not a good matchup for you. That's just the way it is. But
yeah.
I think people once Islam leaves, people are going to start to realize exactly how freaking special he was.
Yeah, because he's dominated the lightweight division for so long. When he finally got there, he has the most title defenses in the lightweight division. I think at 4 or 5.
I think.
And then he goes to the welterweight division. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, JDM's going to beat him. JDM's going to be able to, stop his takedowns.
He's too big for him.
He's too big for him." And
look, he's a good grappler and stuff. Like,
and then
there's levels to everything.
Yeah, there's that, and then they get to Ian Gary. He's going to be too fast for him. He's going to be too long for him. Too tall for him. And he gets the win. He wins on 2 judges' scorecards 4-1. He dominated JDM. I think it was 50-40, 50-46, 50-44.
50-44 on most.
Yeah, 50-44 on
50-45
right?
And 50-44.
Yeah. So, look, you get through towards this career. I go through. I'm looking at Anderson Silva's right now. Rich Franklin, great win. Okay.
Twice.
Travis Lutter was next. Okay.
Yep.
He beats Travis Lutter. Nate Marquardt was a 70-pounder. Rich Franklin, he fights him again, beats him. Dan Henderson, 85-pounder / 205-pounder. James Irvin, 205-pounder. Patrick Cote, 85-pounder. Probably could have been a 70-pounder. Talis Latis, good grappler, one-dimensional. Okay. Forrest Griffin, great win over Forrest. Big guy. Damian Maia, 70-pounder. Chael Sonnen, 85, 205, but mainly it should have been 85. Pulled that out of his ass with like a minute 50 left, I think, in the, wins that one. Vitor Belfort, probably to me, is one of his best wins.
Yep.
Yushin Okami, one of his best wins. And then he goes on and he fights Chael again, beats Chael, and then beats Stephan Bonner. The list is only like 3 or 4 guys that you could arguably say are like, hey, we look back at their history and we go like, those guys were damn good.
Yeah.
The rest were, a lot of them were 70-pounders.
Look, if you're going to be honest, and this is why I was saying this, Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
Look, Dan Henderson is one of the best damn fighters there's been in the sport.
Absolutely.
Okay. And he beat him, so great win. Vitor Belfort, great fighter. He beat him. You can take a look and say, the Forrest Griffin one, it just wasn't Forrest that night and stuff. But Forrest was a good fighter. But I'll give the Rich Franklin. He was a good fighter, beat a lot of good people, and beat him twice. So he had good wins, but he also had wins against guys that you looked at and you go, look at he's not even in the top 10, in today's game. Let's just be honest. Travis Lutter, I like him. He's a great guy, good jiu-jitsu, but he's not going to be in the top 10.
No, one-dimensional as well.
Yeah.
But then you get into like Jon Jones, right? Jon Jones is, he beat Ryan Bader, hell of a fighter. Mauricio Shogun.
Jon Jones got a lot of names on that list,
especially early in his career.
Yeah,
early in his career, he did.
Yes,
I know he did well towards the end as well, but he struggled towards the end. I mean, Anthony Smith, the legal knee could have been a DQ, but Anthony didn't take it. Good on him. Continuing on, he could have won the title that way. Things like that. He didn't look great against Talis, against Thiago Santos. Didn't look great against Dominic Cruz. Many thought he lost that fight. Cyril Gahn gets the win. He took the fight with a striker, no wrestling. And then he fought a 42-year-old Stipe. No disrespect to Stipe, but he was gone for 3 or 4 years. Okay. So to say that they've done the same thing, John left the 205-pound division and goes to the heavyweight division, which is one of the weakest weight classes in the.
You can say there. You can sit and say, look, it's the heavyweight division, and that's great. Yeah. But when you look at the talent pool, you can't compare the talent pool when John went to the heavyweight division of the UFC and when Islam went to the welterweight division of the UFC. The talent pool is absolutely different ends of the spectrum.
Can I ask you this? Would you put him at the top? Would you put Islam at the top if he didn't have that one loss?
Yeah.
Because I saw Dana came out with a comment and said, if he didn't lose that one fight, he's like, I'd probably have him ahead of Jon Jones.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, I would. You know, the one, and this is what, it can happen, you know, and I say it all the time. Look, the good ones, the champions, you know, they win even when it's not their night. They get that win against someone that, you know, everything's going against it, but they find a way, and they don't allow people that have caliber to win against him. And that happened to Islam. You know, Adriano, good fighter, decent fighter, definitely not in Islam's realm of, you know, levels, but he got a win against him. And it was a mistake on Islam's part. You know, and it was Adriano. He caught him at the right time, hit him with a good shot. And no one's punch proof. Okay, anyone can get, you know, knocked out, and so it does. Unfortunately, yeah, it counts against you, and it's that one where you can look at it and you can sit there and say, this is why I say the whole thing with Khabib is never lost, man.
Yeah.
You know, people, I see people talking about, you know, the people he fought too all the time. And, you know, when Khabib went into the UFC, you know, I remember watching him and going, wow, his wrestling is so goddamn good, but his stand-up is so goddamn bad.
Yeah.
It was bad, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really bad. And it wasn't, I didn't personally know at the time of, you know, what he was doing as far as, you know, was he just that bad with his stand-up? Was someone not teaching him right? Or was he just crazy and just did things he wanted to do? But, you know, you look and you go, take a look at his stand-up at the end of his, you know, career when he decided to walk away. His stand-up was damn good, you know, and he was doing well with it. And, you know, and if there was one thing that you can sit there and say, he had a chin because he got hit by a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and only one guy kind of rocked him. And that was, you know, Michael Johnson. Mm-hmm. He made him do a little bit of a stanky leg. You know, he got it right. He got it back, you know, right away. But, you know, that never losing, never having, you know, and again, there had to be days that Khabib fought where, man, he didn't want to be there. Things weren't good. He wasn't feeling it. You know, biorhythms were off. I don't care. And he still came out with the win. That's what says something.
Frato One has a good question. I shouldn't even give you this opportunity after trying to trash on my boy there, Frato One, but I'm gonna anyways. Okay,
that's okay.
Thanks for being a member, though. By the way, it says Big John. Do you think the Nurmagomedov name is now bigger, more important than the Gracie name?
No, I don't think it's bigger. I think it's right there with it. You know, to sit there and say, why try to compare and sit there and say, oh, you know, well, who's more important now? Well, right now, Nurmagomedov is more important. Who made the sport? You know, it's like everyone forgets, and it's just part of, you know, it's part of human nature that, you know, when you're out of, you know, the view of the lens, people forget you, and that's okay. You know, we're all going to be forgotten eventually, and that's so what, you know. But you have to go and give credit to where it's due, and the Gracie name will live forever because they are the instigators, in my opinion, of a change in the martial arts and a change in the view of fighting that has created more opportunities, more things for individuals. You know, there would be no Conor McGregor, okay, if it wasn't for a Gracie. They made it to where all of a sudden people realized, hey, punching is not the only thing there is. Hey, you could be the smaller guy and still win. Hey, you know, this is really cool. Look what he can do, and he's doing it with his legs. All of those things are based upon this name called the Gracies. They created that because they helped create the sport of MMA. You can never take that away from them. What the Nurmagomedovs did is they took that and then just elevated it to another level based upon lifestyle, way they work, the amount of work they put in, the ethical, considerations of how they live their lives. They've just brought it to a different level. And right now they are the people succeeding, and eventually it'll be somebody else.
Yeah. It always works that way. There's always going to be somebody else. We just can't forget about the people that came up and built the sport.
No.
Like I don't forget about Chuck Liddell. I don't forget about Vanderlei Silva. You can't forget about those guys. Those guys were just savages in their era.
Oh.
You can't discredit them. But the sport has also evolved to the point where it's so much more difficult to get a takedown, so much more difficult to hold people down.
Oh my God.
It's a lot more difficult to land these combinations because these other athletes are so developed on the feet. They understand how to move their head offline. They understand how to check and counter. They understand how to get out of exchanges with elbows, making sure they're always leaving the exchange with some sort of offense. So it looks like they won that exchange. They're not just fighting to fight. They're actually fighting with a game plan, and they're also building themselves up. They're not building themselves up. They're also being very smart about every single little exchange to leave it in the judge's hands or in the judge's eyes that they won that exchange.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into this more than just like two knuckleheads getting out there and just throwing down like in the Tank Abbott days.
Yeah, that's exactly because look, it's so different, and to sit there and you can't take anything away from the Tank Abbott days and some of the things that people will sit there and say what they want. And I look at Tank Abbott, and he says all kinds of shit about me, but Tank was a necessary person in the timeline of the sport of MMA. He made people fucking believe that, hey, you could just come off the bar stool and just be just a tough street guy. Tank was a lot more than that. Tank actually, he trained, he wrestled, he had Jesse Reed as his stand-up coach. He put in, a lot of time. Now he did a lot of things that absolutely were counterproductive to, being successful. But as far as the sport, he was important for the sport because he brought eyeballs. He was that first, villain for a lot of people and anti-hero for a lot of others, and they believed in him, and that's what sells. That's awesome.
John, let me just read these off a little bit. Like, look, let's talk about our boy here, GSP. So in the top position, in which I have these guys, right? I've got Islam slightly now ahead of GSP. We're not going to talk about any type of altercation with USADA. If we're not going to talk about that, right? I'm going to go Jon Jones. I'm going to go Islam. I'm going to go GSP. And then that fourth position. I would agree with you. That's my position right now. In the fourth position, I'm kind of in the Volk Aldo. A lot of people want to say Mighty Mouse. I don't have him in. I have him at number 5, maybe number 6, only because he was a one division champion. And that's because the sport has evolved. I'm not taking anything away from Mighty Mouse.
But you can sit there and say, yes, he was a one division champion, and he did fight at 135, and it didn't go well.
Yeah. Not only that, he did have a knockout loss in one to Adriano Morales. He had a loss to him there. So, I don't have him there. Like, I still love DJ. DJ, if you watch his podcast, he's a great guy. He's so fun I love everything about him, man. He's a great representation of just for people like to have good energy. Everything, just the good energy he brings, like on his show, on everything. I love Mighty Mouse. I'm not trying to take a dig at him, but in this era of 2 division champions, GSP's got 2 divisions, didn't defend it, the 185-pound title. Jon Jones defends the heavyweight, but I got Jon, I've got Islam, I got GSP. You can put Volk there. Volk wasn't a 2 division champion either. You could say maybe Ilya ahead of him if you want. I just didn't see a big enough leg work. Big enough work, how do you say that? It's a big enough. I didn't get it a big enough sample size, I guess. There's something, leg of work. Yeah. I didn't get enough.
Body of work.
Yeah, body of work. He beat obviously 2 of the best guys. He beat Max and he beat Volk very impressively. And so I can't.
And then he beat Charles.
And then he beat Charles. Yeah. So you could argue that he should be ahead of Volk and Aldo. I have Volk and Aldo kind of in that 4th or 5th spot kind of thing. Mighty Mouse, I love. Look, it's up in the air. It's up in the air. But I think solidified in the top 3 is Jon, Islam, and GSP. I think everyone else we can have a conversation about and debate about, but the top 3 should be Jon, Islam, and GSP. Yeah, GSP doesn't get the credit he deserves.
See, part of that is if you look at their records right now. Okay, let's say Jon is 29-1. I want to say
Jon
somewhere. Yeah,
Jon Jones. Yeah, I think so.
29-1. Then his 1 is a disqualification.
28-1. He's 28-1.
28-1. Okay, Islam is 29-1. I know that.
Yeah,
because he was 28-1. So he's 29-1.
Yeah,
and his 1 loss is the one that it kind of makes it, where you can sit there and say, well, Jon's was a disqualification. He really didn't lose as far as the fight. He lost based upon rules. Okay. And then GSP, he's got 2 losses. He lost to Matt Serra. He lost to Matt Hughes. And then you take a look, but here's the thing that you've got to look at. Each one of them. Take a look at, let's say, their last 8 fights.
Okay.
Last 10 fights, maybe. Because it might be right there for GSP. But 8 fights, they're all wins. Win. Every one of them. And so that's the difference when you start looking at, you look at Mighty Mouse, and you can look at other people that are on there, like Aldo. You can look at Volkanovski. I've got losses that are right within there.
Yeah.
So the only other one that I can put in there is Khabib. He doesn't have a loss. And so his runs all the way through. And so you can sit there, and sometimes it is, Aldo was so good at a specific time, in his career, but things happened, and I don't know exactly what happened. I don't, know. I don't think you do. Only, I would say Andre Pederneiras knows. Obviously, Aldo knows, but his style changed, and it had to change for a reason, based upon he was so successful with his leg kicks, so successful, and they just stopped. So something had to physically happen somehow that made it to where he realized I can't do it as much because it's creating a problem for me. And so that was the difference in his style. And then so as his fights went on and he continued to fight, he started to lose at times. And so that kind of puts, you can't look at his last 8 fights and go, look at all wins. Nope, he's got a lot of losses in there. And so I always go by, the guys that walk away when the time is right, you're putting yourself in a position to always be held up there as one of the best of all time.
Yeah. I can go through all of these guys' title fights. I can go through DJ. DJ's got, he's got his loss to Adriano Moraes, but he beat Adriano Moraes twice after that. Flying knee. He actually beat him with the flying knee after that, after being kneed himself in the first fight. But Danny something in one championship. Then he fought Wada. Then he fought the guys in one. He didn't really. None of them really were on his level.
No,
you know what I mean. But he fought.
But he had he had the fight against Rotang.
Yeah,
he did a kickboxing fight.
Yeah, that's fucking insane,
dude. Yep, you got to go. Hats off to you, dude.
You're insane.
Yes,
I'm sorry. I'd be like, hell no. I don't give a shit. John,
I think it was 1 round was kickboxing, then 1 round was MMA, then goes back to kickboxing.
And we do MMA first, where once I knock you or choke you.
No, yeah. So it's always the kickboxing or Muay Thai first.
But he had a loss to Henry Cejudo in his weight class.
Yeah, a decision loss.
He also had a win,
which was impressive.
Yeah, but no offense to these guys. Ray Bork, not the highest level.
No.
Wilson Reese, not the highest level. Tim Elliott, not the highest level. Henry Cejudo at the time was young, coming in, finished him with the body shot with the knee. John Dotson was very good.
Yeah,
was good. Horiguchi, very good, very young at the time.
Yep.
Chris Carriasso, not great. I know Chris training. He was from the Bay Area. How do you say it? Bogatinov?
Ali
Bogatinov. Yeah.
Bogatinov.
He was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was one-dimensional.
Yeah. Joseph Benavidez to me was his best wins.
Yeah.
John Dotson's and Joseph Benavidez. Those were his toughest wins, his best wins. Before that, he lost to Dominic Cruz. One weight class above. And I put emphasis on this because he only had to go up 10 pounds. And I know DJ's not a big guy.
No,
that's the point. The point is, I think people look at him and go like, you're tiny and you dominated your weight class for so long against guys that were, as the sport went on, they became bigger and harder, bigger than him, a lot bigger than him. You look at the guys now making 155, like I fucking would have got murdered. I would have had to make my way to 145. These guys are
at one time you were considered a big 155.
Yeah, Joe Rogan was talking about on the Yves Edwards fight. He's like, bro, Josh Thompson's the biggest lightweight I've ever seen. Yeah, put me next to Khabib and Islam, especially Islam. He'd be like, why are you so small? You need to go to 145. He probably would say something like that now.
Brother, why are you so small?
Yeah, why are you so small? But like I said, I'm not trying to take anything away from DJ's what he's done in his career. He did what he was supposed to do. He beat all these guys.
And it was just a phenomenal representative of the sport.
That's the
just
other thing.
So good and so technically good. That's really the part that DJ could do it all.
That's the thing, John. Where do you rank these guys in skill? Does skill have something to do with where you put them on the GOAT list kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Because you can still be they could be the best fighter. Because then Khabib was so skillful in terms of wrestling and the grappling portion. Obviously, the hands, not the same, right? The kicking, not the same. Some of his kicks, when you go back and watch his videos, you're like, oh, what were you doing? We all used to sit back and laugh and make fun of him at the gym. Like, bro, what was that? What were you doing? Right?
Was that a kick?
But we were all laughing. We'd all laugh.
Or did you trip? Did you trip?
Yeah, what are you doing? But then you got guys like DJ, you got guys like Jon Jones, spinning back elbows, back up elbows, all these wild, crazy things that they just came up with on the fly. The little jump Superman jab that GSP used to do. Islam with all of his foot sweeps, his hip toss, the way he threw that head and arm the other night, and just in transition, I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful, beautiful. So then you take, and then you look at DJ. DJ's got all the tools. I would say DJ's probably the most skilled out of all of them. All of them, like skill level, grappling, striking.
If you're going to say, you're going to look at wrestling. Overall his ability to do everything and do it well. I would say if you're going to look at that, it's impossible. It's impossible to do it, because look at George St-Pierre's striking was really clean. His wrestling, his MMA wrestling was fantastic, and his submission game was good. Jon Jones does things that no one else really could do it. The way he throws his spinning back kick, it's the angle that he throws. He doesn't come wide. He comes from down, and he'll sit there and his leg comes down in a straight line and out in a way that it catches people because it's not coming around the corner. And he does things that you look and you go, man, he does that so well, and so Islam is the same thing though now. And this is why I've said, look, his stand-up is just incredibly underrated, because the way he set up that kick, look at that was set up. That wasn't luck. Okay. No. That was timed. That was range. That was putting it out there. And his range was maybe that far off, so he ends up hitting more towards, the top of his foot and toes than he does, but it caught, that spun Ian's head around, put him down. And you look and you go, that's a guy that understands, the stand-up game and that range and when to pull the trigger on it. So I don't know. I agree with you. The top three in the world of MMA that I could point out as the three best fighters I've ever seen, as far as overall everything they do and then their accomplishments within it and everything, would be Jon Jones, George St-Pierre, and Islam Makhachev in no specific order.
Let me ask you this. Someone just brought this up. I don't know how you say his name. Anakinski MMA. Would Mighty Mouse still have the same success he had against the guy in the current flyweight division, against Pantoja, Joshua Van?
No. I'm being honest. No, he would not. if there's one of the things that happened, DJ was in that time when they had problems finding, and this is, you pointed this out. You had, people like, Chris, who good fighter, not great fighter. Okay. You had, Ray, good fighter. Ray Bork was a good fighter, but not a great fighter, tough guy, but skill wise, you got to look at their skill set and where they were good. And you look and you go, okay, he had a couple in there. The Henry Cejudos, he caught Henry early in Henry's MMA career, where Henry was not able to adjust to what Mighty Mouse did. And Mighty Mouse figured out that, Henry likes to do this, and if he does this, I can grab and I can bring knees because I see where his body's at, because he likes to come into you and be, okay, I'm going to sit here and do it. And he did that, and he ate him up with it, and so you look and you go, okay, that was a big win. But there's a lot of wins in there against people that you go, good, and sometimes really good later on in their career, like Horiguchi, but caught him at the right time as far as, and Horiguchi went 4 rounds and 4 minutes and 59 seconds, with him, because he got caught in the last second of the last round. But, you look and you go, there were people he fought that were good and really, as their career went on, got much better. But the absolute, stable that they have in the 125s right now, like, there's some really good, solid 125ers, and they're all little buzzsaws that don't get tired. Just look at the 330. Look at Charles Johnson. The kid that he fought, is new coming in. That kid is good. He just
Chopole or something like that. I think his name was
Chopolino.
Chopolino. He is good.
He's good. He's got some skills. He just, first off, he's coming in last minute. He got tired, and you could see it, and he made mistakes, when he got tired and stuff. And so, but there's some real talent, that DJ, he was the king sitting on top of the hill, that no one really could, knock him off of that thing. Where nowadays there are fighters out there that would give him a run.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the rankings right now. You got Joshua Vant. Like, Manel Kopp would have been a hard fight for him.
Manel
Fast,
Kopp is
explosive, athletic, like, just have heavy hands. Brandon Royval, with all of his movement and his just go for it. I mean, he might have caught him in a submission, Brandon Royval. Tatsuro Taira, I mean, he maybe would have outstruck him on the feet, faster than him probably, but would have had some problems with him maybe a little bit on the ground. Kyoji Horiguchi these days, a lot different than he was when they fought the first time. Obviously, Loner Kavanaugh, Alambayev. You've got Brandon Moreno. I mean, Brandon Moreno's used to fight at 35. Now he's at 25. He's been at 25. But
he's been the champion at 125.
Yeah, he's been a champion. So, like, there's guys there that, and this new kid, Tamarov, that kid's good.
And then you could also, look at it, if the UFC ever brings him back, Makhachev.
Yeah, Makhachev.
You give people problems too.
Yeah. I mean,
so there's some real talent.
A lot of talent in the 125-pound division. It's the most stacked it's ever been right now.
Yeah.
And these guys are so talented, so good. Yeah.
And I give Henry Cejudo, credit for that, because, he's the one that saved that, because there just wasn't that great talent when DJ left. And they were like, "Oh, we'll get rid of this." And Henry ended up beating, TJ Dillashaw, and that was saving the flyweights, because don't think the UFC doesn't get rid of fucking weight classes. They've done it before. They would have done it again. But
Henry they got rid of the lightweight weight class, right?
One time, lightweights are no good. Lightweights are boring.
Yeah.
You look and you go, "Oh my god,
gosh." I knew they favored the big guys. They always did.
Everyone does.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to put it down, I do agree with you on the Khabib thing. I probably would have maybe Khabib at number 4 then, because over Volk and even Ilya right now, but he doesn't have 2 titles. But I also would probably go Khabib because he's undefeated. But then I'd probably put DJ and Khabib somewhere in that mix there. And that's respect to both of them. I want to see how Ilya Toporia's career plays out, because I think if he does come back and win the lightweight title, I mean, you got to put him, like, for him to go through the adversity with the one loss, go through the adversity, come back, have both of his orbitals broken, come back and then win the title again.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to probably put him in the mix. Got to put him right there in that.
Well,
somewhere in there.
We're going to find out exactly who Ilia Topuria is in his next fight. Look, there comes that point where, you either grow from the loss or you succumb to the loss, and I've seen it both ways with fighters. I've seen one loss absolutely derail a great fighter, great career, because up here, they were so locked in, so good, so, believing in their abilities, and one person took that away from them.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
We got a super chat here. Iceberg 1230, it says, when assessing someone's quality of competition, does the skill set brought on the night affect how it's viewed? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm losing it a little bit. If someone is well-rounded but face someone like Khabib and they fight scared, does that lessen the win for them?
Yeah.
They got to win, and Khabib hasn't lost. So it's you got to still beat that guy. It doesn't no, because fighting with a game plan, that's the keys to success. You got to try to find your game plan, and if it doesn't work out, you got to make adjustments as you go on. But being able to find a game plan and make it work, that's very difficult in this day and age.
Yeah, well, when you sit there, when assessing someone's quality of competition, you can sit there and you can only go off of what does the person do on that night against that fighter, because it's the same as we're talking about George St-Pierre. Let's take a look at Matt Serra. Now, people will sit there and say what they want as far as Matt Serra. Matt Serra was not, he definitely was not your prototypical 170-pound fighter, because he had arms about this long, right? And he's a great grappler, but he would strike. He had power. But the night that he fought, GSP at UFC 69 and won the title, look, you're going to sit there and say he didn't fight a great fight? He fought a great fight. He went out and he knocked the shit out of George St-Pierre, a great fighter, a guy that we're now still saying is one of the best of all time. And so do I sit there and say, well, he lost to Matt Serra? No, Matt fought a great fight that night and beat someone that, I'll say that I didn't. Well, I did expect it because I was in their locker rooms and George was a mess. But, going into that, I thought there's no way that Matt Serra is going to beat George St-Pierre. And he did. And he deserved to. And he put on a great performance. And so you can't sit there and take away, then he fought so-and-so. No, it's on a given, night and a given time. That's why we always say, like, anybody can win in this sport. Anyone can lose. This is the same as we were talking about Islam with, Adriano Martins. It's a matter of, on that night, that was his night, man. And that's what makes the sport special, because you never know when that fight's going to come up.
Yeah. Salam. Let me see here. Another super chat we got here. It says, Salam alaikum, my brothers. I have nothing of value to contribute to this conversation. That's my entire super chat. I want to thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
I thank you, brother. Thank you so much for the chat, my man. Thank you. John, let's talk real quick about the rest of this card. Let's just drop in Mackenzie Dern versus Jillian Robertson before we wrap this up. What's your takeaway on that fight?
I mean, to be honest, I thought Mackenzie did some really good things, and then she did some bad things. You can take a look, and the one thing that you look at when you're the champion, your job is to finish that fight the way a champion finishes the fight. She wasn't able to do that against Jillian. Jillian came out and had a great round in the 5th round, so that's something that I think Mackenzie can learn from, getting better, because I thought her stand-up looked better. I think she's getting better in a lot of ways, but you need to finish the fight. So there's a takeaway. You won the fight, no doubt about it. You won, majority, 4-1, we'll say. One judge gave Jillian 2 rounds. I'm sorry, that was an error. but you won the fight. Congratulations, but there's something to learn from that fight that's going to make you better. And so I think that, it was a good fight for Mackenzie, but there's obviously areas that she needs to shore up and to get better at to be that champion that holds onto that belt.
Do we see Dean Thomas and Jillian Robertson corner again?
I don't know, and I think
we do.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of, I think Dean, like I said, hey, he's a phenomenal human being. He doesn't like to lose, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And when you're not in control as the trainer, it sucks. And we say it how much. And so I don't know if he's going to take this one and say, yep, nope, this is the one that tells me I just can't do it because I got this, I got to win. And, it's okay.
Yeah. Jalen Turner versus, I don't even know how to say this guy's first name. Kyle Fernandez. I mean, obviously just a beautiful knockout. Great job by Jalen Turner.
Yeah. I mean, and fast.
39
seconds. That was considered to be, that was going to be a good matchup. And I know Fernandez didn't realize he got knocked out. He got knocked out.
Yeah.
He went out. And so it was a beautiful win. I think Jalen Turner's, he's someone that, man, he could absolutely be a guy that, still starts to light it up, in the 155 division. He is so big. You talk about big.
Yeah.
And you look and you go, and he's got all the tools and everything necessary. He just needs to, focus in, become, almost selfish about things and just go on a run because he is a handful.
Dustin Stoltzfus versus Abdul Malik. Man, great job.
I mean, fantastic. I was so impressed. I thought going into that fight, I thought, Abdul Malik was going to win that fight.
Me too.
I thought, I thought wrestling was going to, maybe Stoltzfus is a little bit better, but I thought it would even out to a point, and I thought the striking would be the big difference, and it was for Stoltzfus.
Yeah,
he stood in the pocket. He threw beautiful shots. He created damage at times, and his wrestling was better. I mean, if I have nothing but good things to say about the way he performed, and I think Mansour is going to go back. Eric Nixick being his coach and stuff, they're going to look at it. He's going to learn from it, and he's just going to become a better fighter off of the fight. But man, that was a hell of a win for Dustin, and it says a lot about who he is as a fighter and where he's gone, because he's had a couple of back-to-back now.
Yeah, with Abdul Malik, I think he's probably one of the best guys in the room, and so I got that vibe when he came out and just kind of just was out there willy-nilling it. I was thinking, you're a guy that thinks you can't be hurt, you can't be hit, and you got pieced up every time you came in and tried to grab the head. He reached for the head, and Stoltz just threw a 6-punch combination. Like, I'm just going to throw. And it got him out of a lot of potential bad situations against Malik. And so that was kind of the way that he laid out his game plan. I was like, every time he reaches for me, throw punches. And he threw, and he landed clean. Yep. And eventually it led to, getting to the submission. But man, I thought Stoltz fought a damn good fight. Very smart fight. Yep.
Best fight I've ever seen him fight.
Rabovics versus Edson Barboza. You saw the walk from Edson Barboza. You saw him hugging his kids, started getting a little emotional on the walk, and I was like, it's over. He's going to lose the fight, and then on top of it, he's retiring. I just knew it. You can't have those kind of emotions before you get out there. You got to be dialed into who's in front of you.
This is, as you said, the young eat the old.
Yeah.
And that's the UFC is no different than any other promotion. They have to, build new stars. And Esteban Rabovics is, he's had a couple of fantastic. His fight against Zellhuber was unbelievable. And just, I know he had the loss recently, but man, he's good. And so they needed to, give another name. And look, Edson Barboza's had a name for a long time in the UFC, and he's a remarkable fighter. He's just a beautiful technician on his feet. But, I'm glad it's over.
Me too.
I will miss watching him because I enjoyed how beautiful he was at the way he could throw the techniques. His punching was never great, but god damn, every kick he threw, I don't care where it came from, was just a work of art. And I'm gonna miss that with him, but I'm glad that he decided this is enough. He's had a great career. He's fought the best of the best. I mean, you want to go down his record, and take a look at the names that he fought. I mean, it's a who's who of people in not only the 155 but the 145 pound division. It's just nuts who that guy has fought.
Yeah, they tried to give me him right after my Benson fight. I was like, this guy's not even in the rankings. No way I'm not fighting that guy. I just fought the number 2 guy, number 3 guy. I'm gonna fight Benson Henderson and then turn around and fight a guy who's not in the rankings. They kept trying to get me out of there. So this Chidi Nchikwane, you know him. You know him. Yep. Joel Alvarez, he fought a very frustrating fight for a corner.
Yes.
No changes. Nothing going on.
Yeah. And he fought Chidi's fight.
Yeah. And the worst part was his corners didn't realize he was losing because after the first round, great job.
They told him he won.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's so I say all the time, sometimes it would be good if a corner was smart enough to actually bring someone to tell them if their fighter won that round or if it's too close to call or because when you're telling someone they won a fight or a round and it's clear that they didn't, it's like what are you doing? That's crazy.
I'm gonna jump all the way down to Neil Magny. This guy just won't go away. Every time we're ready to write him off, John, he's too old. He can't fight anymore. These young guys are coming. The young eat the old.
I love that.
He's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, he is. Dude. He's absolutely just he's a good guy, and he's a good technician everywhere. His ground game, I've said it for years. His ground game is just way underestimated. He is absolutely controlling. He's good with his submissions. His stand-up is actually clean. He's slowed down. You can see that, the speed has slowed down and stuff. But man, he can fight, and that's you got to give it to him, man. He is he's the guy that you think, oh, they're trying to use his name. Nope, not using my name this time. You better buy your breakfast, man. I also have to go with Dante Johnson. He fought Eric McConaughey, I want to say, and got the knockout. He got a double on that one because he hit Blake Grice, the referee, with an elbow. Hey, he got him good. Blake. It's funny because Blake had actually texted me before the fight asking me a rules question with something that McConaughey wanted to do, and so I told him. And then I'm watching the fight, and he got hit. Right? And I go, hey man, I said, good job. That was a good stoppage. I said, way to eat that shot too, right?
Yeah,
and you're gonna get it. We tell people all the time, look, if you ref, you're gonna get hit at times. That's just hopefully you don't get hit with the good one. That one was a good one because he actually he got sick from it.
Really?
He got concussed. Yeah.
Oh,
he got concussed from
these
it.
Fucking soft refs these days.
Yeah, I'll tell you. it's always the shot you never see that hurts you the most, right?
Exactly.
And he could, and I said, all you can. I said every time I get hit, and I said it's a good one. I go, well, that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's exactly what went through my mind. I went, motherfucker, that hurt. And so,
another old guy got it done, man. Jeremiah Wells, he got it done with against Oral Bai with that ninja choke, jumped him right on that neck. Boom, lost the first 2 rounds.
Yep.
What I want to talk to you about though with him was that at the end he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna lay my gloves down, but if the UFC wants me to fight a top 15 guy, I'll fight him," because he wants to get into the top 15. I understand that. Like you're older, like I want to just fight going forward. I don't want to fight any guys, and if I lose, then I'm done. I think him and a D-Rod fight would be a fun fight.
That'd be a good fight.
D-Rod's number 15. He's trying to get in the top 15.
No.
Give him D-Rod. D-Rod coming off a loss. He's coming off a third round finish, a good win, a finish.
Dude, he was getting pounded.
Yeah, he was.
He's getting pounded in that fight. So the fact that he got a win off of that, man, you give him credit.
And D-Rod will stand with him. He'll stand with D-Rod.
Oh,
yeah, I think that would be a great fight. That'll get him in the top 15 if he's able to get the wins. But I jumped out of my seat because he was the biggest underdog. He was a plus 730 in terms of betting. So Orbai was, I think a plus like 450 or something or a minus 450, and he was a plus 730. So John, I gotta be honest, man. I put a little $50 down. You know me, I'm betting on the dogs. $50 down. Let me just see what happens. I bet on him, and I bet on Stoltzfus. $50. I also bet on Barboza, and then I saw him walk out. I'm like, I lost my money. Saw him walk out. I'm like, he was emotional. I'm like, I lost my money. It's over. It's done. But I ended up cashing out about a little over $680 that day. Yeah,
man.
You got to bet on the dogs, man.
Babies are getting new pairs of shoes, man. No, I'm gonna keep it.
It's already gone. They spent it already.
Always.
All right, we got one last super chat, and then we're gonna let it wrap. Here we go. It says Frato1. This guy, he won't go away, man. This guy, I love this guy, but he won't go away. Super chat. It says Quinlan Southkid welcoming Usman Nurmagomedov to the UFC. Thoughts if it happens, and should they? Would that be a good opening fight for him?
They should not. If they want to keep Salkad where he's at and moving forward, don't give him Usman.
Yeah,
I'm just being honest.
Who would you give him? Let me give you the list. Ilya Taporia.
Who would I give Usman?
One. Yeah.
Okay.
You got Arman Sarukian, Ilya at number 1, Arman at number 2, Charles at number 3, Max at number 4, Patty at number 5. I had Javier Mendez on the card on the show just last week before the fight with Islam. He said they would love the Patty Pimblett fight, and I was like, I bet you would.
Of course he would.
Of course you would. That's a smart coach. Yep. Stylistically, that's a good matchup for him.
Yep.
I'm thinking, like we just talked about most of the show, the young eat the old, Charles Oliveira.
Yes. I'm being honest. That's exactly what I would have told you. If I was going to be the UFC, I've got to look towards the future, and I've got to realize what I have in Usman. And I just don't see how Usman loses to Charles in that fight. Stand-up wise, Charles is really good. Usman is slick.
Fast.
He is faster than Charles. He is longer than Charles. He is his kicks. He hides his kicks super well behind his hands, and then his wrestling. His wrestling is top notch now. This is where when we talk about you can teach an old man to wrestle. No, but you can teach a young kid, and they have taught him how to wrestle. And man, he is someone that is not going to be easy for anyone to take down, and to keep him down is going to be a hard road. And so if you're the UFC, you got to look and say, I don't want to put him against Ilya right away because I don't want to get rid of one of them, either one. And I can look at Patty. Patty's a star. I don't want him to get the loss. And so I can look at, who's left now. Well, I got to go with, even though Charles is not old, he's coming up on 36 now, I think.
Yeah, 35, I think so.
36.
Yeah.
And so I got to be honest and say, okay, which one is going to benefit, my new stock, and my new stock is in Usman Nurmagomedov. So I would say Charles Oliveira would be the guy. Yeah,
I could go as far down as BSD. But BSD coming off the way he lost to
definitely
Patty.
Don't want to give him another loss, and he was not going to beat Usman.
Yeah, he's not going to beat Usman. And you don't want to go that far down. Like, you go that far down, but then he just lost to Patty the way he lost to him. Yeah. I probably wouldn't give him that fight, because if he beats him, he's supposed to beat him. You're not actually helping him at all. So, and then you get into like Gamrot and Hooker and Moicano and Fiziev and Nolan and Dariush, and it's too much. You got to, if you're going to pay him the $1 million he's going to command per fight, it's going to be probably somewhere in that mix of like Charles, Max, Patty. I don't think they'll give him Arman or Ilya off the bat. They'll give him Charles, Max, or Patty, somebody in there. So, I don't know, man. There's some good fights for him. There's some great fights for him if he comes into the UFC.
Yeah.
I agree with you on he should avoid the Salkid fight because Salkid's, I think, 27 years old. You want that to develop later on.
Yep.
Let Salkid.
That's exactly it. Bill, no, I need these young kids like Salkid who's coming up and just, he's looking great. He's got the right attitude. He's doing everything right. Why do I want to put him in a fight right now that I can't build and get what I want from it, like that I can when a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years down the road, I can make this a huge fight.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of right now is a great time to be an MMA fan. Going into 2027, you don't know what MVP is going to do.
Things are looking good.
Scott Coker starting his new organization, and then you have the UFC now on Paramount Plus finally established themselves in what they're doing on Paramount Plus. They've got some new big ideas that are coming up. Obviously, the White House card this year was a great success. Great success, yes.
Great success.
And then they had the International Fight Week. Obviously, the main event flopped a little bit, and no one's fault. Accidents happen, but the card itself was good. And then you've got Noche coming up, the UFC 331. You've got all the things coming to fruition. So this is going to be a good year to wrap up on, moving into 2027 with more MMA available. So hey, also too talking at what?
Coker's got his launch
September 14th in New York.
That's it.
September 14th in New York. They're going to announce. It sounds like they're going to announce TV rights deals. It sounds like that. It sounds like they're going to announce, whether it's a ring or a cage, whether it's
come on,
fight,
you know what it's going to be. Scott Coker. He's a thinker. Come on.
They're changing up the. I don't have any inside information. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. But they're going to change up how you start to view the sport or how you start to view that. They're not trying to compete with the UFC.
Come on. That's how many times have I said it? Why are you going to go into competition against the UFC? That's the dumbest thing you can do. Make people be able to recognize the difference.
Yeah. They have no desire to say, hey, we're going to do what the UFC is doing and try and beat them at their game. Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
They're light years ahead of you. They've got 30-something years of building that, and they've got billions of dollars a year to put money into. No, you're not going to do it. Build something that's similar but different, that you're not really trying to say, hey, we're competing with them. We're doing our own thing over here. If you like what we're doing, come watch us.
Come watch.
And I think it's going to be great, man. I think it'll be
interesting what MVP does with the PFL too.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. There's no more PFL. It's just called MVP. We don't even talk about PFL anymore. It's over.
Well, I'm trying.
We've closed that deal up. Also, too, if you guys don't know, today I interviewed RDR last week. That interview drops. He fights this weekend against Roman Dolidze. That interview also drops. That's available now on our YouTube channel. So the Roman Dolidze and RDR interviews are available right now. Put that work in for you guys. So hope you guys enjoying that. And I'm also supposed to be solidifying the Umar Nurmagomedov interview sometime this week. So hopefully I get that done this week for you guys as well. So we'll get that going. Guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun. It's always fun talking to my guy right here. Big Jon McCarthy. McCarthy Mondays. It's actually done on Monday. We actually got it done on a Monday. So
that's pretty good.
Man. Great chat with you guys. And, everyone, you guys all know the routine, man. Hey, we're going to leave you with this. Saturday mornings used to mean coffee and sidelines. Now it's game time for all of us. We're running drills, chasing goals, and trying to keep up with each other. Soccer, lacrosse, doesn't matter. What matters is we're doing it together. But here's the thing I didn't expect. Training with your kids, it hits different. You sweat more, you push harder. If you're not careful, you could bring yourself out. That's why I started bringing Element. No sugar, no junk, just electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, so you can stay sharp, stay moving, and stay in the game. Because when your kids look over and say, come on, Dad, keep up, you don't want to sit this one out. You want to be right there with them. Hydration isn't just about performance. It's about showing up. For them, for yourself, for moments like this. Element.